Mason Brew Emergency Pod coming for you. Don't really have a title for this, but Luke Ghardi, Anthony Broome here with you. Friday night, just before 8 o'clock. What else would we be doing but talking some Michigan football for you? Big news dropping. Mo Linguist going to be leaving the Michigan program and heading to Buffalo to take the Buffalo job. And first things first, Anthony, I guess we could say, I can't say I blame him. You know, you take this job if you're Mo Linguist probably to get a head coaching job one day. But, man, this is kind of objectively hilarious.
Yeah, baby. Maize and Brew podcast here on a Friday night covering all things Block M, where the Block M stands for Murphy's Law, baby. Yeah. Everything that can go wrong
my God.
will go wrong. Let me start out by saying this, because I think we're best suited to just kind of jump right into it, because I don't want to be here particularly long anyways.
Right.
First of all, good for him. You know, Buffalo is probably, I mean, you're talking to two MAC guys here right now. Buffalo is probably, objectively speaking, the best job in the MAC right now, question mark. Maybe Toledo is right up there, but
yeah,
one of the best jobs. And those don't often become available in the month of May. So he has that going for him. The ties are there. He was an assistant at Buffalo from 2012 to 2013. People don't want to hear about his fit at Buffalo. People want to hear what the hell Michigan's going to do. And people who come on and do a reaction podcast probably should have more answers. But I have no idea. I
guess the instant reaction is, well, Mike McDonald, I guess you're getting thrown into the fire immediately.
Well, we'll see.
No co-defensive coordinator anymore.
Yeah, this is rough because, so we have to, some people might not even know who Mo Linguist is because you may have did the Men in Black neuralizer to your brain coming off of last season anyway. So Michigan hires Maurice Linguist from the Dallas Cowboys, your squad, back in January this was after Mike McDonald was hired. So we knew Mike McDonald was going to coordinate the defense. And Linguist comes in and he's going to co-coordinate and put the coverages in and take care of those guys on the back end. And a really good recruiter, too. I mean, I know Michigan kind of hit the ground running with him, got a couple guys right off the bat, had worked. I mean, I believe he was a big factor in Will Johnson, the 5-star for 2022, committing to the program.
Mo Linguist is the first guy mentioned when you go to 247 and look at the recruited by Sharon Moore, also involved in that. But Mo Linguist is the primary recruiter.
Yeah, and it's just there's no other way to look at, like, this is what I talk about when I say there are cosmic forces at play against Michigan football for whatever
It's true,
reason.
man. No, it's really true.
Because Maurice Linguist, and I know what the narrative with him on the Cowboys was that maybe the coverages were a little too complicated and that's why the defense struggled, whatever. But fact of the matter is you went from, like, this is a total reboot on offense, installing a brand new scheme. You just finished spring football, got a pretty good head start in installing basic stuff. I mean, you don't really get into the nuts and bolts of it till you get to fall camp. And even throughout the season, those things continue to unfold and develop. But on a staff that got younger and better as on the recruiting trail, because what was the deal before? I mean, we're talking the Don Browns of the world, the Bob Shoops of the world, the Mike Zordiches of the world, all guys who maybe not the best recruiters, but if you want to call them X's and O's, that's fine. But the kind of the old guard.
Right.
Mo Linguist comes in and he kind of checks all those boxes where he's 37, young guy, considered an up-and-comer in the industry, and
just came from the NFL, man. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you talk about recruiting, Anthony, and what's the number one thing a high schooler is going to want to hear? You know, a guy comes in and says, I know how to get you to league. I know what it takes to play in the league, you know? I mean,
it's a voice that carries a lot of weight. And I'm not surprised that a head coaching position came calling for him. But it all, again, cosmically linked. Les Miles loses his job at Kansas, Michigan man, someone everyone here wanted for years. Now he's kind of in the process of being canceled, or I don't know what you call it, but he's not at Kansas anymore. He's not in Kansas anymore, Toto. And Lance Leipold makes the jump to Kansas. So, like, there's an opening there. Someone's got to fill it. There's that domino, those dominoes that fall, and it just so, like, what are the chances that in this enormous reboot of an offseason where you flip your entire defensive staff, new foundations, new everything, that the one coaching job that's come open in the month of May ever, I don't know if there's ever been one, honestly, just happens to go to the guy that you just hired. This is what I'm talking about when I say it's a cosmic thing. You know what I mean?
Dude, no, it really is. I think you put it perfectly at the start of the podcast, man. It's Murphy's Law, legitimately. I mean, it's like someone just put Trepa Coles here on YouTube Live said it is unbelievable how the unexpected keeps happening to this program. It's legitimately true. It is. The unexpected has to be the expected at this point. What job opening for Mike McDonald is about to come up, like at this point. This is,
I know my initial inclination is like, I forget who, maybe Scott tweeted this out earlier, Scott Bell. It was like, immediately you go Google who's on the Baltimore Ravens coaching staff, because that's kind of the flavor of the month with what they're doing. But
right.
It sucks. It's unfortunate. Like, this isn't a Dan Enos situation where he was a weasel from the start, a little finger, as I like to call him, just looking to move on up in the world. Like, this is just kind of I won't call it once, like, no one's going to call coaching at the University of Buffalo a once in a lifetime opportunity, but it is such a unique situation where, like a lot of things that happened with them, you just throw your hands up and go, well, there's not really a whole lot you could have done there. So yeah, that's the initial thoughts on it. I know there's some other stuff to burn down. We'll take some. We have time to take questions and stuff, but
I mean, I'm sorry to Sam17 Don here on Periscope. He says, "Luke, stop smirking. Give me something. What do you want me to give you, man? Like this is an emergency podcast. We're reacting to Mo Linguist. Well, literally, I mean, you say it's not a Dan Enos situation, but he's kind of pulling a Dan Enos here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Dan Enos was here for 45 days and was literally waiting for like a contract clause to expire so he could go. He has a different job literally every time I Google his name. I had no idea, because I did look up his name because that's a name that came up tonight. He's the offensive coordinator at Maryland now. So not only it all just, again, it's a circle. The George Lucas used to say it's like it's poetry. It rhymes. So, but I think when people are coming here tonight on a Friday night, and we have like 75 people watching right now across multiple platforms, and you guys will hear it live afterwards, or you guys get to see it live, and people will hear the recording later. But people want to know, like, we want to know who's next in line. The initial reports right now are that Michigan is going to, or someone who's in consideration, someone's being talked about, is Steve Clinkscale from Kentucky, who's a name. I feel like he's come up. He came up earlier this offseason. He's someone that I feel like I've been seeing Sam Webb talk about how good a fit he would be for a while, like going back for a few years here. So that makes sense. But again, it's just the fact that it is May right now.
Right.
You know, other names we saw, Aubrey Pleasant was a name that we saw during the first go round 4 or 5 months ago. He's now coaching the defensive backs with the Lions. So it kind of seems like it's Clinkscale or someone that Angelique Shangelis pointed out earlier in the day, Doug Mallory, who former defensive coordinator at LSU and Indiana, he's been coaching for a long time, former Wolverine too. He's in an analyst role right now. So I guess worst comes to worst, you slide that guy up there and you still, he checks the box as a defensive backs coach and someone who has defensive coordinator experience that you can pair with Mike McDonald, but it's certainly like, this wasn't the plan. For me, it's always seemed like, and I know people want Michigan to win this year, but Jim Harbaugh being given the license to make the changes that he did, to me signals that like they're willing to give him 2 more years to see, because you don't reboot either side. Michigan's offense still hasn't been rebooted under Josh Gaddis, which is not necessarily that's not necessarily the way it was supposed to go. But that's year 3 for him. When you're installing a brand new defense, it doesn't happen overnight. So this was supposed to be, I don't know. It seems like it's supposed to be the start of something, and now it's just you're still spinning your wheels here on May 7th.
I will say this though, like I see a lot of people in the comments here kind of worried about recruiting, and I think it's right to be so. But for a guy like Will Johnson, obviously he's a 5-star recruit. You definitely want to keep him. And Mo Linguist was primary guy recruiting him. But I feel like Will Johnson isn't just going to decommit because Mo Linguist is gone. I mean, this is a guy from Grosse Pointe. It's not like they're out in California trying to get this kid.
Yeah.
He's familiar with the Michigan program, familiar with the Michigan coaches, and the proximity to home is there. Like I don't think it's a foregone conclusion Will Johnson's going to go just because Mo Linguist isn't here. Now, does it hurt them on the recruiting trail elsewhere? Absolutely, no question about it. But your cornerstone of the class, I don't think it's a lock that Will Johnson is going to decommit.
Well, let's be honest too. Like even if Mo Linguist stays, given what has happened with Michigan in the last couple of years, it's no lock that Will Johnson would stick around anyways. So, Lord willing, he doesn't have some kind of academic issue that admissions needs to step in for. Not saying that he does. Just I'm trying to be funny, and it's not working. But
shout out Xavier.
Yeah, I mean that's in any other like. I won't say that there should be excitement around this offseason because we know the type of year they're coming off of, and but there's just been. They didn't have a spring game, which again, you could, to me, honestly, you could take or leave it. I know that was controversial to a lot of people. I was upfront with saying I think that everyone could probably benefit by not having a spring game, or at least having it televised or open to the public, whatever. But it's just we talked about it on the Brewcast the other day. Is that like everything about the last month or so for Michigan, it's been the Xavier Worthy thing. It's been Maddie Dudek being swapped out, in the wake. I don't have intel saying Xavier Worthy was the reason for that, but in the wake of that, that's what the optics of it kind of were. You swap him out for Courtney Morgan, which I think was a positive change. It was time to do that too. But then during the draft, you hear every time Jim Harbaugh's name comes up at Michigan, it said, "Oh, he beefed with James Hudson on the way out the door. He had an issue with Rashad Weaver on the recruiting trail." And all the narratives with all the Michigan guys during that weekend were, yeah, he's good, but the tape, the production wasn't there. We're not sure if he was used right, all those types of things. And then now this. Right. So it's not even necessarily Jim Harbaugh's fault. Again, it's just like somewhere out there. I mean, let's call it. I mean, a lot of this is objectively hilarious. It's not fun for us, but
you have to laugh at the pain. You know what I'm saying? It is like you mentioned, Anthony. None of the news that comes out has been positive as of late. Like what has been the last nice surprise? Dax Hill flipping back from Alabama to Michigan. Like was that the last positive kind of surprise that's happened to this program?
I mean Donovan Edwards. I mean there's been Donovan Edwards, Rayshawn
I guess
in this class. But, that's nothing that makes people go, whoa. Okay,
right.
Might have something here. It's I don't know. It's kind of we're at the point in this whole process where it's gotten a bit sobering in that Jim Harbaugh comes in, right? And I'm not going to turn this into a Jim Harbaugh bash fest or anything like that. Like it's May 7th. I'm not doing that today. Right. But Michigan, he comes into Michigan like a carnival barker with the satellite camps and signing with the stars and all this stuff. And there was just so much buzz. So much juice with the program, and beefing with SEC coaches on Twitter and taking shots at Mark D'Antonio and all this type of stuff. And it's just a completely neutered product right now. It's just so I don't know how else to put it. Like I'm trying not to be mean about it, but that's how it feels. I mean, if football even comes up on the timeline, people are
it's legitimately wild. Like there's just a lot of resentment towards this program right now, and I honestly never thought it would get to this point, to be quite honest with you.
It's stunning.
Mentioned, it really is. No, 100%. I mean, especially if you'd have said this in 2016 or 2018, especially after 2018, going into the Ohio State game, if you look, 2 years down the line at where this program would be from then. It is. I've never seen a bigger 180 in a program. I don't think, and I don't even know. Like last year, I feel like we're putting a whole lot of stock into last year, even though they were missing. Like Michigan had 3 picks in the first 3 rounds in this draft. Michigan was missing 2 of those guys this last year.
Yeah.
A new starting quarterback. Like, I feel like we're putting a lot more stock in this last season than we should. But that's the territory that comes with Michigan football at the end of the day. You know,
Yeah.
I guess 2019, the expectations being preseason ranked number 5, I think that was kind of the thing that started it all, that there started to be some resentment toward the program.
Well, it was
you felt like 2019 should have been way better.
It was 2019 coming off of how 2018 ended with the Ohio State game, and then the Peach Bowl was, I mean, I won't say it was more embarrassing, but it was that performance was laughably bad. With all those weeks to prepare. But this is where I felt this way too. And again, try not to get too much in state of the program. So we have a whole off season to do that. And Lord knows, I mean, Michigan's been good for like one big story a month, even during the off season. So who knows what June will bring us? But whereas teams like Wisconsin and Penn State had bad years last year, like those are fluke years. And people will argue that Michigan football had a fluke year last season, but yes, again, Murphy's Law, everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong. But some of the things that ailed them the most were kind of the culmination of things that they'd been dealing with, in the few years before. Not recruiting great on the defensive side of the ball, namely up front, the inability to find a quarterback, lack of rhythm and identity on offense. Like those weren't, if Wisconsin doesn't know how to run the football for a year, I'm not worried that program's in trouble. Like that's an outlier. A lot of the things that happened with Michigan and what precipitated all of these changes, including the hire of Linguist, was just how bad it was, and the fact that it wasn't entirely unpredictable given how things had been trending. So, we could talk all day about how to get the juice back and what it will take. I mean, it'll take wins, but like I said, I think as we circle back around and bring this back to Mo Linguist and what that means. I mean, it's again.
I will say this though. So we just got a comment here from Sherwoody14. Coming into 2021, the other negative is a DC that's never called plays, a QB coach that's never coached a position, and a lot of other coaching issues. So here's the thing about that: Mo Linguist, he wasn't a play caller before this either. He was the Cowboys defensive backs coach, and I understand Mike McDonald wasn't either. But is it better to have two guys as co-defensive coordinators that have never called plays? Like I feel like you got too many cooks in the kitchen that don't know how to cook at that point. Like I think I'd rather just have one guy try and figure it out trial by fire. So if there is a silver lining to this, it's that, and the other being, I'm a Cowboys fan, guys. You see the Emmitt Smith jersey back there, right there.
Kind of.
I'm a Cowboys fan. Let me tell you, that Cowboys secondary was not very good last year. Like, I understand Mo Linguist has done some seriously good stuff on the recruiting trail and whatnot, but I don't think he was necessarily going to be a savior to this Michigan secondary,
Yeah, and we had a comment come in that says Matt Weiss coached the QBs in Baltimore. Was he? Hold on. We'll check that here since we're live. Why not? No, Matt Weiss has never coached quarterbacks. He coached the running backs last year at Baltimore. He was the assistant quarterbacks coach there in 2016, 2017. Well, I'll put it this way. Like, Ben McDaniels Ben McDaniels coached the quarterbacks at Michigan, and I never saw tangible progress or improvement there. Like, I don't know. Jim Harbaugh is the quarterbacks coach, essentially. So, again, yeah. I don't know. We could run through the whole staff again, but at the end of the day, I mean, what this program has needed most on the defensive side of the ball was young guys that bring new concept, new ideas to the table. And I know that the book on Linguist is that maybe the coverages were too complicated, but he was also on a staff with Mike McCarthy. Like, you're better off throwing a headset on like me or you. So I'm not going to throw all that blame on him. But a young guy that recruits and brings new ideas to the table, gone off the staff, and like I said, even I got to check the age on Steve Klink's scale, but I don't know. I know he's got. There's not a Wikipedia page for him. So, but I believe he's a younger guy as well. So not quite 37 years old, younger, but that would be a good hire. But it's a matter of who's making that jump in May. there's that chain reaction that comes from it.
That's what I've been saying too. Like I see a lot of people here in the comments that are talking about like, oh, who's Michigan going to hire to fill this role? Like, we're past spring ball.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of these secondary coaches are pretty entrenched in their program right now. Someone pointed out this is a perfect storm situation with what happened at Kansas and now allowing the Buffalo job to open up. Like it's not an easy thing. You know, this is not January even would have been, you fill the role rather easy, but after spring ball, this is going to be a really tough position to fill.
Yeah.
Hire Nick Saban. I would love it. What would it take to get Nick Saban to Ann Arbor?
I don't know if there's a price.
I don't think there's.
He's got that Michigan State. He's got the Michigan State in him. Like there's no way. There's no way.
He has plenty of money. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, you could offer him $100 million, but he's like, what do I need that for? He can golf 365 days a year in Tuscaloosa. He's a god there. They're gonna build that guy a statue. I don't think there's a number that gets him to Ann Arbor.
It would be like $50 million a year, and then like. He gets
a private jet that he could use every day. Like that
he gets to publicly like pull down Mark Schlissel, like pull down his drawers in front of a fan, full house of fans. But
imagine Nick Saban trying to work with Mark Schlissel.
Oh my God! Again, been the theme of the broadcast so far. Objectively hilarious to think about. I don't know. Like Michigan basketball's coaching search worked out. So this might not be the best example in the world, but it's like when John Beilein left kind of out of nowhere a couple of years ago, like everyone goes, oh, well, let's go get Brad Stevens or Chris Beard or all these top names. So Michigan would prefer to talk to this guy, but it's who's coming in May. I'd have to imagine. I went back and did a little bit of research. Mo Linguist, who follows Maize n Brew on Twitter, by the way, shout out Mo if you're watching the show. We think you did a good job in your time here.
Only one way to find out, I guess. Hopefully the DBs are okay come the first game of the year.
Yeah, Mo Linguist had not tweeted or liked any tweets since Wednesday, so like that would lead me to believe that this has been in the works for a few days. So maybe Jim Harbaugh has a little bit of a head start, but I don't know. Unless it moves super quick, I don't know if anything gets done before the middle of next week. But again, it's just I don't know who you're getting. I won't say answering the phone call because Michigan can afford to pay whoever they want to come. It's just who's going to come attach themselves to this right now because I think that Trevor and I had talked about this earlier. So let me find the conversation. How do you expect this? Okay, so this is kind of what we were talking about. The University of Michigan as an institution isn't even all in on its head coach right now. Like they slashed the man's pay by 50%.
Right.
So the idea that anyone can and should be all in on it, this again, it goes back to what I said back in January. Like that extension was stability on paper only, written on toilet paper. So
100%. I mean, the kind of came out that he was kind of shopping elsewhere.
I mean, I don't think he was looking at the NFL as like, okay, I'm leaving Michigan and going to the NFL. I think he was trying to kind of improve his bargaining power a little bit. And I won't say it backfired, but the contract says what the contract says. So
backfired a little bit.
I love that.
I love that from Beardenstein right there. We think you did a good job should be on a plaque. I mean, that is ultimately, man, the motto of Michigan football right now.
Yeah.
That's like remember the Miami Heat, good job, good effort kid?
Yeah, you can put it on a plaque right next to Jack Harbaugh's proposed co-Big Ten East title banner from 2018. So, again,
they got the trophy, right?
I do believe there's a trophy that is given for that, but I would honestly throw it in the wood chipper like Fargo, and we'll just never talk about that again. So, I don't know. I don't have much else to say on it. It sucks. I don't know if there's going to be a laundry list of people that are lining up to join Jim Harbaugh's staff in May, considering where things are at right now.
Because the NFL.
Let me ask you this:
teams are set.
Let me ask you this: is Mo Linguist going to take his PowerPoints with him?
Yeah, he's not changing any terminology.
Yeah, just change the block M to the block B. I don't know whatever Buffalo is. So yeah,
They got the bull, I think,
yeah. I don't know. I don't have much else to say on it. It sucks. It's unfortunate, and it's starting to get dark in my house. So I got to get out of here before I'm podcasting in total darkness. So
that was our emergency podcast here for Maze and Broome. Linguist, he's leaving. He lasted longer than Dan Enos. He'll always go down in the record books for that anyway.
Oh God, hang a banner for that too. I guess I don't know. Who knows? Dan Enos might have the way he jumps around. He might be coaching quarterbacks by the time the season starts. Who knows? But
do not put that in the universe, man. Please, for the love of God.
Oh God, I wonder what ever happened to his office plaque. Like, if it's still, did they just throw it away, or is it locked up in there somewhere?
Like the name tag?
Yeah, I don't know. But all right, let's get out of here.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching. That was fun. We got to laugh a little bit because, again, this is objectively funny. Just Murphy's Law, as Anthony pointed out. He's Anthony Broome. I'm Luke Ghardi, and we'll see you soon on Brewcast.